Good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. And I am glad that you are joining me again today. And we're looking forward to what the Lord has in store. And I really am excited about getting into the rest of Revelation. It seems that the parenthesis trying to help us understand how God is dealing with the demonic world, how he is dealing with Satan, what is the battle going on between righteousness and unrighteousness, heaven and hell. These are battles that are very real. I'm convinced that if you and I could see into the spirit world, it would scare us to death to see the battle that is raging all around us all the time, the spiritual wickedness that is all around us, the battle that is taking place, even between heaven and hell on a moment by moment basis. Even God protecting his own, even now in this world, is really an amazing thing to try to think through and wrap our minds around. But God is in control, he is sovereign. And as we get into chapter 16, we're going back to what is going on in the tribulation period here on earth. How is things ramping up? What is going on? What is God doing? And how is it playing into his masterful one design that is going to be, it's going to come to fruition right on time. And as he's working through the progression of these 7 years, everything is happening according to his plan and purpose. What we find here is the last 7 vials, and they're going to be poured out on the workers of iniquity. It is really an attack on the Antichrist and all of his worshipers and followers, and how they have treated the martyred saints. And God is going to deal with them. They are going to rise up and raise an army against Israel to try to get even with God, to stop God from doing what he promised to do, and stop God from working through Israel like he had promised to do, as the dispensation of the eschatological impact on the earth, this end last final days on earth before God destroys it. This is a reality of God finishing what he promised to do right on time. And he is defending his saints, in the sense that not that they didn't die, not that they weren't martyred, but this life was temporary anyway. And so they just simply were allowed to rest from their labors by being martyred here on this earth and transported to heaven, where they can enjoy what God has prepared for all of us. I think every one of us needs to get to the place where we look at this life as a tour of duty, as a moment in time where we're able to participate in a program that's bigger than any of us, but that this isn't it. This isn't what it's all about. It really is about eternity in perfect fellowship, in perfect love, in a perfect environment forever. That's really what God designed us for. It's what he desires for us. And so, what we're doing here in the exercise of our free will, to be able to choose Christ, to be able to choose to love him, and to actually build the relationship that we're going to enjoy forever, is just a testimony of God's grace to give us a free will. And I think we exercise that every day, but we need to remember that really death in this life is really the beginning. And so it isn't the end. We tend to do everything we can to avoid dying. And yet it really is the beginning of what really matters. It's the beginning of what really God designed for us as his children, as human beings, to enjoy him and glorify him forever. The beginning of that reality happens when we leave this life. And so this is just participating in that program, exercising our will to just grow in a relationship with our Savior and get to know him on a more personal, intimate level. So here we are introducing what is going on in the world. Well, can I just tell you that when Jesus came the first time in a manger, the prophecy was very, very specific. And they knew exactly where he was going to be born and how he was going to come into this world, and that he was going to be born of a virgin, and he was going to be born in Bethlehem, and there was going to be a star, and all of these things that were very measurable. And people didn't believe it was him. So can I tell you that as we're watching prophecy very specifically be unfolded in real time right before our eyes, and we say, how can people not see it? Well, they didn't believe it the first time. It doesn't surprise me they won't believe it this time. And no matter how easy it is for us to grasp, this is happening exactly the way God said, right? It did the first time. And the rapture will happen just like he predicted it. And the revelation, the return of Christ, will happen just like he predicted it. And everything in between is going to happen right on time, because God is a very detailed person. And he allows everything in this world for a purpose according to his design. So let me read those verses, and we'll just make a couple of comments as we look at the preparation for Armageddon, as the Antichrist builds his army worldwide with demonic power, demonic activity. These kings are united and empowered and instructed by demonic world. They are demonically influenced, and we'll prove that from the text here. And the first went, and and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your way and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went, poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast. In other words, God is now punishing those who martyred his children, those that had received the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial on the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, thou art righteous, O Lord, thou art and wast and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. In other words, you are right in the judgment you're giving. You are right to defend the martyrdom of your children, your saints. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. In other words, this is what they get for what they did. There is a sowing and reaping. And the fourth angel poured out his vial on the sun, and the power was given to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over the plagues. And they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast. This is in Babylon, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and the way of the kings in the east might be prepared. The rivers Euphrates created a defense, a natural barrier, a natural border, a natural way for Babylon, the seat of the Antichrist, and all that he is trying to accomplish throughout the world was protected. And God is going to dry up the Euphrates River. Now, I think the Euphrates River is like 1,800 miles long, and at points can be 1,200 yards wide. And I think I read it's like 10 to 30 feet deep. And God is going to dry it up. Not only do these rivers serve to provide fresh water in a number of ways for different things, it was a natural defense mechanism. And so God is going to prove to the Antichrist and the demonic world that they are vulnerable to God who judges righteously. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of that great day, of God all against God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and see his shame. And he gathered them together into the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. I have stood outside of Nazareth at the precipice and looked over the entire valley of Megiddo, where the battle of Armageddon is going to take place. Fascinating that the world is going to unite around the destruction of Israel. You can listen to your news right now, and the bear of the north, Russia, what I believe is the king of the east, with a huge foot soldier basis that's going to come and cross the Euphrates because it's dry, because they're on foot. I believe that's China. So you look at the bear of the north, Russia, and the king of the east, China, and Persia, which is Iran, and they're in the news, united as a three nation, united against Israel. And this is just news today. This was predicted thousands of years ago, and now it's just news. We're living real time the reality of God putting everything in place. You say, when is the return of Christ? I don't know exactly, because no man knows the hour, but I do know this, that the first event that's going to happen to unfold all of what we've been talking about is the rapture. So I know that the revelation of Christ, the return of Christ, is at least 7 years away. But the starting of that timetable is the rapture. And when is that? It could happen anytime. God has all of the things in place. All we have to do is be found faithful, remembering that our job is to not control the timetable. Our job is to steward the time God has given to us for his glory, to be good participants in the program that is bigger than any of us. And so as we look at these events, we look at the world events, we look at God's wisdom, we look at his righteous indignation, we see that he has the right to defend his saints and to judge those who killed them. We're finding that God is always in control. And as things are ramping up in the book of Revelation, as we unfold the eschatological timeline, that things are getting ready for the big battle. And we're finding that God allows the demonic world to prepare the hearts of the kings of the world and unite them against Israel. And God is going to bring them into one place where he is going to personally defeat all of them. And we're going to talk about that as we go along. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.